I'm Nina Ehrlich. Howard and I have lived at Harbor's Edge for almost 5 years. During this time, I have served on the new resident, library, movie, and security committees. I am also a volunteer at Gumbo Limbo Nature Reserve. For the past 3 years, I have been a member of the Resident Council, serving as the new resident chairperson and secretary, taking minutes of the meetings. These minutes are available in the library. I would like to remain on the Resident Council to help keep Harbor's Edge the prime continuing care community it is. Wishing you all a healthy, happy, and fun 2022.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year. I'm here today to tell you, or to ask you, to consider me for an elected position on the Presidential Council for this year, 2022. A little background that helps you position who I am, but most importantly, what I might be able to do for you, and what we can do together at Harbor's Edge to enjoy the experience of successful aging. My grandparents on both sides were immigrants coming to the United States during the teens of a new century. I'm about equally Italian and Irish, with a little French and English thrown into the stew. I grew up in Chester, Pennsylvania. It was a gathering point for many newcomers because it was the mecca of industry situated south of Philadelphia on the Delaware River. Developing marketplace skills, being honest, and caring about your family and your neighbors were the hallmark of the town that I lived in, Chester, and the village within Chester. Having always been interested in beauty business, all areas to enhance women's appearance, particularly hair and specifically hair color. When I joined Clairol's division of Bristol-Myers in the mid-1960s, hair coloring products were still a taboo category, frowned upon by large segments of both women and men. I worked in marketing research with the key assignment to discover methods and programs to make using hair color desirable and, more importantly, acceptable to people from all social and economic populations. For almost 30 years, I worked in the many business categories related to accomplishing that goal, both in the United States and throughout the world. I was not blessed with children and devoted my professional time to understanding how people thought about products that they used and why some products made them happy, emotionally, socially, and some not at all. After leaving Clairol, I had started a very successful marketing consultancy dealing with the leading global corporations in the business of beauty. Throughout my career, I have always been committed to aiding the needs of those less fortunate. I have had a strong commitment to health issues and developed successful programs throughout the AIDS crisis to support those afflicted. Additionally, I was on the team that created the program for Bristol-Myers, Look Good, Feel Better, that became a very important national program for cancer survivors and their families. Philanthropy has been a consistent high priority and continues to occupy my activities in retirement. Harbor's Edge was known to me through resident friends for the past 20 years. When my walking challenges directed that I give up to caring for a house after my husband's passing, Harbor's Edge was my only choice. Having never lived in a community, I have learned that the commitments to each other as residents who share many common goals of quality care are very important. Over 3 years ago, I became appointed to chair the Health and Wellness Committee and have worked with other residents to develop the clinic for resident care through the affiliation with external medical practices and the FAU Medical School, Memory Care, and other local leading medical practices in South Florida. Additionally, I have served on other committees: Financial, the Foundation, and FLICRA, to aid the execution of their programs for residents and for the management of Harbor's Edge. It is sincerely hoped that I be elected to continue my service to Harbor's Edge. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jean Irwin, and I have been living here at Harbor's Edge for 10 years. I came to Florida after living in Canada for 25 years. I grew up in New Jersey, later lived in Manhattan and Greenwich, Connecticut. I have a BS in nursing and worked for the Visiting Nurse Service in New York City, and later was an operating room nurse. I have 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and 4 great-grands. I was a stay-at-home mom, but was always volunteering. Garden Club president, choir member, Greenwich Council member, PBS volunteer. I've always been a gardener, and here continue that with a terrace full of plants on the 2nd floor. I would like to say a bit about my work in the library. I replaced Charlene when she left about 3 years ago. As head librarian, I choose the books we buy with the help of my committee. I order the books, stamp them with our name, place dots and stickers on them, and place them on the new bookshelf. I email the list to Valerie, who reports them in her happenings. I also post them to the library and keep the white loose-leaf notebooks there up to date. From these lists, Judith Newton investigates and précis the books for us. These are listed in the monthly Harbor Lights newsletter. Roswell keeps our book lists up to date on the Harbor's Edge app. Diane Haynes enters the books in our computer and files the cards for us. Return books are date stamped and returned to their places on the shelves. I check the sign-out sheets for books that have not been returned in a timely manner. I enjoy this work, but am very frustrated when books are not signed out properly and sometimes never returned. Just this past week, the book Fast Friends was obtained, and 3 days later, I noticed it was not in the library and not signed out. At the present time, Ginny Salus is cataloging all the art books for us. When she finishes, all the books in the library will have been cataloged, listed on the computer, and listed on our app. If I am elected to the council, I plan to continue working in the library. I enjoy the work because I have a wonderful committee who are diligent in replacing the books on the shelves. My last major project there is for maintenance to fix the second lowest shelves so that the books don't slide backwards. I think I can do a good job as a council member. I knew nothing about libraries, but liked the challenge. A new challenge is always interesting and helps to keep us active. I hope you will vote for me. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Linda Rosenkranz. I know many of you, and I'm happy to know you, and I'm a happy person living here. I am running for the board because I think it's in my blood. I started volunteering for things when I was 7 years old, and I've been president of many organizations, both in Washington, D.C. and in Florida. I'm happy doing all these things, and I've been on the board of places. I've done art trips for the Boca Museum. I was in charge of their art collectors program. I also was chairman of the Jewish Federation in Boca Raton, Highland Beach, and Delray Beach. I love living here, and I would just love to do more things for the people and for our community. So I hope that I will be able to do this for you. I have worked this past year on the activities committee, and I'm also in the midst of trying to get more programs with FAU here. I'm very involved with FAU and with some of the theaters. So I hope to be able to bring some things here and to bring us to some programs there. So please, when you're voting, I hope you'll vote for me, and I hope if I get in, we will have a good rapport, and I can help you with improving some of the things that I think we can do here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ginny Salus. Since moving into Harbor's Edge, I have been interested in activities that make life more meaningful, enjoyable. I create flyers and photos of birds and plants to make walking at Harbor's Edge more intellectually and visually interesting. Sometimes I have to use photos for trips I've taken because there just aren't enough birds around that week. Melissa Stretch and I lead discussions after movies so people have an opportunity to make connections with their own experiences and express feelings about the movie. We have a bird garden approved and funded. Someday it will actually get built, so we can see birds and learn about them. I would like to serve on Harbor's Edge Resident Board to continue these types of activities and be involved in making life here better. Before COVID, most things seemed to work fairly well. Since COVID, nothing seems to work all that well, except that Harbor's Edge has kept us safe. As COVID wanes, I would like to be involved in our recovery. We need to get the good feelings back. The problems are not just the management's problems, they are our problems, and we need to have input in how to regain our former healthy atmosphere. One area that needs a lot of work right now is communication. Communication should be clear, consistent, and useful. If I'm elected, I will happily work on any committee to which I am assigned. I think I could offer the most to the dining room and would love to make a difference there. The dining room is a major focus for food and companionship, and right now it is just a place to be unhappy and complain. The fact that we are short-staffed can't be fixed by the resident board. The economy will have to do that, but we can fix other parts of the process. Diet restrictions need to be consistently addressed. Orders and requests need to be accurately carried out, and menus need to reflect residents' tastes. Residents and staff need to work together. I would like to be part of the solution, and I would love to have your vote.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Clyde Stretch. Two individuals live with me in apartment 463 of the North Building. Melissa, my wife, and our dog London. We've lived here at Harbor's Edge since mid-2019. I volunteered for the Finance Committee after about 6 months due to a curiosity about how that aspect of the organization worked. As my resume showed, I have worked with finances in nonprofit organizations throughout most of my career. To be clear, however, I am neither a CPA nor an accountant. I was excited when Meyer and Strober asked me to join the committee as a member. I learned a great deal over the next 2 years from Myron, as well as the other members of the committee. By the way, I'm not thrilled doing this video presentation. I'd much rather be sitting down with you in person so that I could answer any questions you might have. I find that I learn from others' questions just as much as I do from my own questions. When Myron left us, I was encouraged by several of those on the Finance Committee to assume the chairperson position. After a week or two of their efforts, I was convinced to accept the interim position until this election. That was 4 or 5 months ago. I mention my experiences with the Finance Committee because that is my principal interest at this time. I'm certainly willing to serve elsewhere on the council if that's where I'm needed, but I believe the Finance Committee is where I can contribute most effectively. I mentioned earlier that I prefer to field questions to making presentations. If you have questions for me, please stop by at dinner some evening and I'll do my best to answer them. Or give me a call. I find it a real privilege to represent your interests at Harbor's Edge and looking forward to doing just that. Thank you very much.
My name is Evie Weiss, and my husband Ron and I moved into Harbor's Edge a year and a half ago. And before I begin, I'd just like to thank Ethel Radler so much for putting this whole thing with the Residence Council candidates together. And I'd also like to thank the other 6 candidates who are running. I'm just going to start a little bit from my resume and just give some brief highlights. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh and went into public school education in the Pittsburgh Public Schools, and I remained there for 28 years. I worked closely with the university in the Learning and Research Department during that time. After retiring, we moved to Highland Beach, to the Coronado, of which I also became active, and I was on the board there and then became president. And during that time, we remodeled both towers and complete remodification of the clubhouse. I also was very fortunate and privileged to be asked to serve on 3 advisory boards for Highland Beach. I was on the Beaches and Shores for 6 years, the Board of Adjustment for 6 years, and the Planning Board for 3. I also remained active and took on many volunteers, I'm sure as all of you have. I was with Boca Regional Hospital for 13 years in the Lynn Cancer Center, and I also volunteered at the Delray Courthouse in community service. And for a short time, I was a guardian ad litem for senior citizens. I am still active with the university. I am still a hostess, and I should say with the mostest, but I'm just a hostess with the Alumni Association. And what we do is we have a Winter Academy every year, one held in Naples and one in Phoenix, where we show off what the medical school has been doing for the past year and all the advancements and scientific experiments that we are into. Coming back to being a candidate for the council, we are very fortunate that LifeSpace lets us have a resident council. And through the resident council, hopefully we can get our wants and needs heard to LifeSpace, and they will have a much greater listening power than if we did it individually. As I said before, there are 7 people. You have the hard choice, and you have to vote for 6 of them. So if you so choose to vote for me, I would be honored and to serve. I will serve in any capacity that they need me to fulfill the Harbor's Edge Residence Council. And I thank you very much for your time.